Do you feel that it is obviously your training, obviously the work, but there's also something watching you is like something divine is also happening?
I've felt that from the moment I started dancing, that it has been something that I've needed. It's been a part of my survival. It's been a part of the way that I've escaped, so much adversity throughout my life.
Hey there, and thank you for listening and watching the Oprah podcast. And hello to all of you who are seeing us on YouTube. Really glad to be here with you all today. I am in my tea house with what is the word? You are a phenomenal woman in the greatest sense of the word, and everything that Maya Angelou meant when she wrote that poem. Phenomenal. You're also a trailblazer who has transformed the face of ballet, of dance, and so much more. She is a transcendent talent, Misty Copeland. She was the first Black female principal dancer at the illustrious American Ballet Theatre. And now, after 25 years, I like that number, she's taking her final bow. She's written over 10 books, and in 2 new children's books, Letters to Misty and Bunheads Act 2, she shares the lessons that kept her on her toes, literally, while making history. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know. All these years, we've never. How did that happen?
I don't know.
I think you did. We did something with you on the Oprah show about remembering your spirit or super soul or something we did, but I wasn't there. I wasn't there. So we're recording this conversation. It's September right now, and your retirement gala, which I have agreed to be on the board as a co-chair for, and I did that just so I could meet you. And then this happens. The gala is in October. And so this podcast will be airing after that. After announcing her retirement, Misty Copeland took her final bow on October 22nd at the world-renowned American Ballet Theatre, where she spent 25 barrier-breaking years of her life as a ballerina. I had the honor of co-chairing that gala on a starry night at the Lincoln Center in New York City. After her performance, Misty stood at center stage and received a 15-minute standing ovation. So that would have been your first public performance in 5 years. So what's going through your mind now as you're preparing for it?
It's taken a lot for me to get back on stage.
Because you've been off for?
I didn't want to. I really, have been struggling with what it means for me to be back on stage at this point in my career. And so
it's been 5 years?
It's been 5 years, and it was my choice, to kind of step back and just really reassess what it is I'm doing on the stage. I've done so much throughout my career and represented, my community and what it is to not fit a mold. And I feel like I've said so much, and there's so much more work to be done. And I feel like that has to be done off the stage. And so it's that combined with a lot of things. I think just burnout from having injury and being in pain for so many years that you kind of lose that sparkle, that passion for it. And so it's been really intense getting back to the stage, not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically. I mean, all of those things have to really be in sync and connected. It's the same with...
Now you're a mom.
And now I'm a mom,
everything.
Which completely changes everything. My body is completely different, and it's really a new body that I'm in, approaching, doing the work I've done my whole life. But I feel like I've gotten over that hump of feeling frustrated or feeling, that I'm doing this because I want to say thank you to all of the people who've supported me. But I'm at a point now where I want to do it for myself. And
the final dance.
The final dance with American Ballet Theatre.
Yes.
And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited. Again, I feel like I've gotten over that hump where I'm not just kind of like hanging on by my fingernails because it's physically so difficult to get back into that kind of shape. But now I'm like, okay, I'm in a groove. I'm rehearsing the pieces that I will perform, and they're all so meaningful to me. So it's like this beautiful love letter to my classical career and to American Ballet Theatre.
Psychologically, I understand that thing of, I remember making the decision after 25 years to no longer do the Oprah show. And it wasn't one thing, it was a series of things. It's like I realized that I'd reached a point where I was asking the same questions and I could not muster the same excitement for, what is that eyelash you're wearing? I mean, if I did another makeover, I mean, in the beginning, I was excited about
Yeah.
everybody and their excitement about the makeovers. And then I was just realized I don't know another way to say that is coming from a true self. And I always wanted to not be doing it if it wasn't completely authentic.
Right.
Yeah.
I completely relate to that. I completely relate to it. And, I feel like I got to a place, it was in 2019, I got to a place where I felt like, I always told myself, I guess similarly to you, that I wouldn't do it if I didn't
I said, I don't
feel-
want them dragging me out with the
No,
microphone. Yes.
not at all.
Yeah. And how did you know you were ready to step away?
The last performance I was supposed to dance was the lead in the ballet Giselle at the Kennedy Center in DC, and it's one of my favorite roles. And I had injured my back, and I had to pull out of the performance the morning of the show. And I remember feeling relieved and not sad. And I was like, this is not a good sign. And I really need to kind of step back and evaluate what's going on and why I'm feeling this way. And I think it was, again, a culmination of 20 years of performing, up until that point, and dealing with a severe injury that, I had a surgery on my tibia. I had a plate screwed in after 6 stress fractures. And even after having this surgery, I was still performing in a lot of pain. And I just feel like I got to a point where that excitement kind of wore off, and that, working towards this goal of becoming a principal dancer. And now I was just exhausted in every way, especially mentally and emotionally exhausted, to have to muster up that energy to get on stage and rehearse, day after day. And again, I just felt like, I feel like being a Black body on the stage, I've done what I needed to do. And now there's so much other work that needs to be done off stage and behind the scenes, and sitting on boards of these, theaters and institutions that don't have artists and don't have Black women. And that my voice, I think, will have an impact in a different way by not being on the stage anymore.
I can't imagine, and I don't think anyone else who's watching us or listening to us can imagine the physical pain and the emotional preparation necessary to do what you do. I mean, what you were just saying, your tibia is shattered and you're still dancing and you're in pain. And when you're doing that, to us, it looks like you're actually in another world, that something comes over you or comes into you that allows you to be what you are on stage. Do you feel that it is obviously your training, obviously the work, but there's also something watching you is like something divine is also happening?
I've felt that from the moment I started dancing, that it's been so much more to me than just going out there and having fun or because I'm good at it. It has been something that I've needed. It's been a part of my survival. It's been a part of the way that I've escaped, so much adversity throughout my life.
Yeah.
And so whenever whether I was in a ballet studio or performing on a stage, it was the first time that I felt this sense of security and safety, that no one could do anything to me when I was up there on the stage, and something took over. And it's literally like your toe crosses that threshold between backstage and, the sidelines before you get on stage. and I become the character as soon as I'm out there. And all of that pain and all of those worries and distractions go away. And so, but your body can only tolerate that for so long.
So long, yeah. Yeah, you put your body through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine in your own personal meditations, however you do that, you have a lot of gratitude for your body holding up the way it has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even more so now, you
Yes.
know, at 43 and having my son Jackson, I'm in a completely different body than I was at 17 when I joined American Ballet Theatre. And I have so much gratitude for this body getting me to where I am and having the strength and the resilience and power and vulnerability that it has.
What's it going to feel like to take that last bow from that last dance?
The closer I get to it, the more emotional it is. A year ago, when I was asked to do it, I just felt like it's been 5 years. I've already really mourned and processed so much.
Yeah.
The company is different. So many of the dancers that I grew up with are no longer there. So I felt very removed from it. But now that I'm back in the theater, in the studio, and where I grew up, it's kind of bringing up not even these memories or emotions from 5 years ago, but like back when I first joined.
Really?
It's very interesting that's what is coming up. Being 18, 19 years old and first entering into the company, and I think this sense of, as you were saying, gratitude for the opportunity and for this life that I've been given because of ballet and the person that I've become because of ballet.
Are you nervous at all?
I'm not.
Of course not.
I'm not. I've never been someone that really gets nervous. So to me, it's like I'm the most comfortable and I feel the most myself when I'm on stage. So it's my whole life I've been nervous. And so these are the moments when I'm not. So I'm just really excited.
I want to go back a little bit in your story because you have written about this before. But for those of you who don't know Misty's whole personal story, let's talk for a moment about your childhood because I think there are such lessons in resilience, in betting on yourself. And what I have come to know at this wizened, ripened age is that not one thing that ever happens to you or to me is wasted. So all the adversity, all the challenges, all the, help to build the woman that you are. So tell us about growing up in your mom and your 5 siblings and living out of motels and the kind of place nobody would have thought you would have found a ballet dancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually born in Kansas City, Missouri. My mother was a professional cheerleader for the Kansas City Chiefs football team. She loved movement and dance, but she really loved sports and athletics. And so the reason that she wanted to become a cheerleader was so that she could be on the field and watch the game. But so that was really ingrained in us. I think this love of music and of movement and kind of using our bodies. My mom left my father and picked up with me and my 3 siblings at the time and moved to Los Angeles. So I was 2 when I came to Los Angeles. And that was kind of the beginning of the chaos. Picking up and moving became this theme throughout my childhood. By the time I was 7 years old, there would be 6 children. And my mother had married 2 more times and divorced. And it was when I was introduced to the Boys and Girls Club at 7 years old. It was the first time that I felt this sense of belonging and home, like a real sense of home, because up until then we were living in and out of other people's apartments and motels, and my mother was
stability.
No stability at all, no consistency, and
Not
again,
feeling safe.
Not feeling safe. There was abuse in the house, and I became mute pretty much. I mean, I was so introverted and didn't have a voice, and I didn't want people to know what was going on in my home environment. So I thought, if I don't say anything,
Was it abuse
they
to the
won't
kids
know
or
me.
was it abuse to your mother?
Both.
Both.
And so that was my way of coping, was just to not have close relationships. And the Boys and Girls Club was the first time that I feel like I kind of started to break out of that shell and had this sense of safety. And the first time I was introduced to the word mentor and what it meant to have
Boys and Girls
other...
Club saved so many lives.
So many lives,
Yeah.
which is why, I'm still very much a part of that community.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I did. I've done a lot of things. As I know you've done a lot of charitable things, but one of the things I'm most proud of is I went back to my community in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, and built a Boys and Girls Club.
No way.
Yes. In
Oh my
Itala County,
gosh.
Kosciuszko, Mississippi. There's Oprah Winfrey Boys and Girls Club.
I have to visit that one because I have visited so many.
Well, if you're going to
Well, I
Itala
gotta
County,
go.
I'm going to come join you. Okay.
I love it.
Okay. But yes, it saved. And one of the reasons I invested in that is because it saves children's lives.
You're meeting them where they are.
Yes.
You're meeting them in their communities. You're not pulling them out. I was surrounded by people who looked like me and understood where I was coming from in the community that I grew up in. And so that was really the first time that I started to kind of feel like an individual apart from my siblings.
And then as a young teenager, you ended up moving in with
my ballet teacher.
Yeah, with your ballet teacher.
It was at 13 on the basketball court at the Boys and Girls Club that I discovered ballet. And it was from that ballet teacher that I would live with, Cindy Bradley.
Cindy Bradley.
She was looking for diverse students to bring into her school on scholarship, and I happened to be one of them at the Boys and Girls Club. She said she thought I was a prodigy from the moment she touched my foot, she says. She saw me move, and I went to her school on scholarship, and it was really difficult for my mom. She didn't have a car to get me back and forth, to the ballet school, and that was far from a priority of hers with, working 2 jobs and raising 6 children. So my teacher offered to have me live with her, and I ended up living with her for 3 years so that I could really focus on the training, since 13 is considered a late age to start dancing. And I would move to New York City after only 4 years.
Really late to start dancing. 'Cause
very late.
You see little girls are doing
3
it at
years
3
old.
years old. Yes.
So after only 4 years of training, I was invited by American Ballet Theatre to move to New York City and join their company.
There was a moment where you were also invited to go to the Dance Theater of Harlem, and you turned that down. And I think that, that's a very prestigious company where you would have been surrounded by dancers who looked like you, but you knew what?
It was early on in my career. It was pretty recent, after I had moved to New York and joined American Ballet Theatre, and it all hit me, that I was the only Black woman in the company, of a company of 80 dancers, and I started to really lose myself and my purpose, I guess, and how I could contribute to this company. Like, where would my path go? And it was in that time that Arthur Mitchell, the founder of the Dance Theater of Harlem, he was also the first Black principal dancer at the New York City Ballet. And he came into my life, and he was mentoring me, and he invited me to take company class with the Dance Theater of Harlem. And right there on the spot, he offered me a soloist contract, which was a huge deal for a 21-year-old who was in the corps de ballet of American Ballet Theatre. He said, "Why don't you come here where you don't have to worry about being different? You'll just be like everyone else." And I really thought about it. I went home and I thought about it, and I just felt like American Ballet Theatre was my dream company. And if we don't take that step, how will we ever see progress and change in these white companies?
Yes.
And so I turned him down, and
Were you scared to turn him down?
Terrified.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a legend, and he's offering me the opportunity of a lifetime.
I would think that would be very intimidating.
It was very intimidating, but I knew that I had a bigger understanding of what it was I wanted to do.
Even at 21.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'd only been dancing at that point for 8 years.
Yeah.
Yes. You say in Letters to Misty, which is a beautiful book, and I'm going to have you sign one to my great nieces because I think it's wonderful if you're trying to discover yourself and trying to figure things out about your life. You say on page 19, being the only Black woman at American Ballet Theatre for the first 10 years of my career was incredibly tough. There were days when I questioned if I belonged. And you go on to say, I came to realize that if I didn't present myself with confidence, if I didn't act like I belong, then how could I expect anyone else to see me that way? How were you able to do this?
Arthur Mitchell had a big part to do with that understanding. I remember that first time I came into the Dance Theater of Harlem building, and he said to me, you have to walk in this room like you are a queen, like you belong here, because if you don't believe it, no one else is going to believe it. And it completely changed the way I thought about how I carried myself, that it wasn't just about how I performed on a stage, but it's how I'm always carrying myself.
If you don't believe it, nobody else will.
If I don't believe it, no one else will.
Yes.
And it definitely changed my perspective.
I think that is the truth for so many people who now suffer from imposter syndrome. I think a lot of people don't believe it themselves and therefore see how other people don't believe it because that's also what they're projecting.
Right.
And other people may not believe it. It doesn't matter if other people believe it as long as you believe it.
Exactly.
I will tell you, one of the reasons why I was able to be so successful in my business and in syndication is because when I did the contract and I said, I want 50% if we get to this number, if we sell this many stations and if we get this. And they said, okay, you know why? Because they didn't believe it would happen. They didn't believe it would. If they had known that it was going to happen, I would have never gotten that deal. So one of the dedications that you do in Letters to Misty, it reads, to your mentors, your teachers, and your loved ones, you are the foundation of dreams realized. The foundation of dreams realized. And there's a man named John Meehan, who was the director of American Ballet Theatre's studio company when Misty joined at just 16 years old. And he is now joining us on Zoom. Hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Hey, hi.
John Meehan. What did you see in Misty at 16?
What did I see? Well, I saw, I suppose you would say, endless potential.
Endless potential.
And she had the limbs to speak as a real ballet dancer. You know, we speak with our limbs, so they have to be a certain shape. Hers were outstanding, especially her beautifully arched feet. She actually pointed her foot. Was it Cindy Bradley who pointed it for Misty?
Yes.
And she said immediately, you're a ballet dancer, just from pointing her foot. But she had all of the basics. She was limber, she could turn, she could jump. She was a charming person, and it was as if somebody had given me a perfect canvas, a primed canvas, the best oil paints and best brushes, and said, here, make something wonderful.
Wow.
And we began, and we did, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
What has it meant for you to, John, watch Misty's career and the way she has navigated her place in the world? What has that meant for you to see that, first of all, affirm what you saw in her and affirm it at a level that you never even expected? I mean, because the world never expected this from her.
I wasn't surprised that she became a principal dancer, and I think Misty knows that. I think I said it to her quite a few times.
But did you believe him when he first said it to you, Misty?
I did believe John, but
Yeah.
it would change in the years after.
Yeah.
Well, when I kind of passed her along to the main company, I was able to stand back and watch her develop. It was very frustrating for me and for her that she had time away with injuries. And, you know, I think a little bit of that is because she started later in life. Even when you start very young, your muscles, sinews, bones, everything is getting a kind of a strength that Misty didn't have starting at 13. So she had to kind of battle that, I think, really her whole career. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I think it was a combination of things. I think also maybe not even because I'd started late or I didn't maybe go to a professional ballet school, you know, one of the big companies and big schools, is that I didn't really understand how to take care of my body. I didn't really think of it as my instrument and, what I was putting into it, how I was fueling it, how I was cross-training, all of those things. It was also natural to me that I just kind of did it. And, John's belief in me, your belief in me, was everything, from a young age. But once I joined the company and I no longer had this almost parental father figure, holding my hand, and you're kind of thrust into this adult world on your own now, it became very real, what it was, not just to be someone who maybe wasn't completely strong enough and ready, but also as a Black woman who felt very alone, which I felt just made it a lot more difficult for me.
Mm-hmm. John, thank you so much for joining us and saying hello.
I love you.
Yeah.
I love you back.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I know Debbie Allen was also a mentor for you. Yeah.
Yes. Debbie came into my life very early. Cindy Bradley, my first teacher, was very conscious and thoughtful about how she kind of prepared me in the best way she could to enter into the ballet world. She was thoughtful of the fact that I was the only Black girl for the most part at her school. And how am I going to prepare this young girl to enter into the dance world?
So Debbie's such an icon. What did she model for you?
Debbie came into my life and showed me what it was to lead. She showed me what it was to be proud of her community and where she came from, and bringing her community with her everywhere she goes. She leads with joy and with love, and community is always at the base of it.
Absolutely. And I think what's so wonderful, and one of the reasons why I know you wrote Letters to Misty, is that you have this desire to give back and mentor in the same way that John and Debbie and Cindy and others have mentored you, and to be able to be a voice for these young girls who are watching you and seeing the possibility of what might be for them through you.
It's so vital. I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have the support that I had from early on in my career and throughout my career. And so I know how important it is to have that.
We heard from a lot of our podcast listeners who want your advice. 11-year-old Savannah is with us, and she has been a competitive dancer now for 8 years and dreams of being a professional dancer, I hear. Like Radio City Music Hall as a rockette, or maybe even a ballerina. Oh, I see Misty's book on the shelf. Very good.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I have one question. What would be your advice for a dancer like me wanting to be just like you in the ballet world, and especially as a dancer of color like me?
Oh, wow. I really think that it's about everything we've been talking about, Oprah. I think it's really about surrounding yourself with a circle of support and community who will be there to support you on those difficult days. It's not always going to be joyful and laughs, but it's going to be a lot of hard work and a lot of ups and downs. And it's so vital that you have people around you who will be there for you and who look like you and understand the journey that you're on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's so
Did
nice
you have
to
something
meet
else you wanted to ask? I saw a whole big long list of questions you had.
I'm also wondering, why did you pick ABT to be your school you wanted to go to?
What a great question.
Yeah.
At the time when I was starting to train, there weren't a lot of options in terms of seeing people that looked like me and who looked like you in professional schools and professional companies. ABT was the closest I saw to diversity in terms of their cultural diversity. They had dancers from all over the world that could come into the studio company, come into the company. And so my teacher and myself, we felt like it was the best fit for me as a young Black girl.
Yeah. And was this your question too? What do you think about when you walk on stage for performance? Did you have that question?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I'm walking on the stage, I'm literally transforming into whatever character I'm portraying. It's literally that magical moment when you become the music, you become one with the orchestra and with the choreography. And so I may be listening to Drake right before, But as soon as I step onto that stage, I am, Odette O'Deal or whatever character I'm portraying.
What is the one thing you would want people to know that you experience or feel through ballet that most people wouldn't think about or know?
I mean, I think that most people think about kind of this rigidness and being really pulled together and uptight, and I feel this extreme sense of release and freedom that might be the opposite from the way that a lot of people envision classical ballet.
Yeah, because it is so rigid, but you feel extreme freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah,
yes.
And release. Do you feel that when you're dancing, Savannah? What do you feel when you're dancing? Tell us what it feels like when you enter the stage.
Well, usually when I enter the stage, I just feel like I'm there and I'm doing this. Like, I don't think about what other people are looking or thinking about. I just think about what I'm thinking and how such an honor this is to be doing that.
Wow.
Be doing it.
That is the way to think about it.
Thank you so much, Savannah, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Bye.
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 Jen is joining us from Los Angeles. She was a professional cheerleader for both the NBA and NFL for years. And recently you retired from that, I hear, Jen. What's your question for Misty?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. So Misty, it's been such a great honor to follow your career first and foremost. As a Hispanic woman, I've experienced the same of 25 years of dancing. And thank you for championing us for inclusivity and diversity and putting so much courage out there through movement and through just so much of your heart. And my question is, when I retired after 25 years, my whole life and my schedule has been filled with rehearsals every week and performances. And so there was such a great pause in my sense of identity because, to your point, dance was a sense of escape and a safe space from adversity and something that was mine through the chaos and that I was good at. And so wondering, the next stage, no pun intended, of your life, how are you redefining who Misty is beyond ballet and what new adventures that may have been put on pause or callings that excite you most about your journey?
Yeah.
That is such a great question. I was going to ask that question. That's really a good question. Really good.
For me, at this point in my life, there's no moving forward without ballet. It is so ingrained in who I am. It's given me these incredible tools that are transferable in everything I do and will continue to do in my life. So I never think of it as this loss or that I'm leaving it behind. It is forever a part of me and the woman that I am. And there's a through line in everything that I do, whether it's this on the speaking circuit or the books that I write or my foundation or the production company that I have. It's all connected to movement and really changing the narrative and how people view ballet. I think there's a lot of tropes and negativity that surround how people view what it is to be a part of it. And I want to bring that joy and wonder and sense of community that so many experience. And so I'm so grateful for the journey that I've had because of ballet.
Wow. But that's a great question because you would think, a lot of people, when they have been identified as one thing in their life, when that thing goes away, they lose themselves, become depressed, become, uncertain, confused. So that's why I think it's such a legitimate question.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you worried about that yourself as a dancer, Jen?
Definitely. I did go through the highs and lows of just trying to navigate the next chapter. And I think that's just so human because when you give so much of your heart and soul to something for 20 plus years of your life,
right.
There's that grieving that Misty spoke about is very real. And I think it's something to also make so normalized of just you grieve loss in different ways and loss of a career, a loss of a dedication to a passion that you've excelled at and opened many doors for people and women that need to be represented.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jen. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Kiera now joins us from Fort Pierce, Florida. Hi, Kiera.
Hi.
Where she is completely different. You don't dance, right?
No.
No, not professionally anyway.
No.
You're training for your commercial pilot's license, I was told. And so we welcome you. So what's going on with you down there in Florida that has you relating to Misty Copeland?
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being here. For me, I always wanted to be a pilot, but I never thought it was attainable for me because I had never seen anyone that looked like me that was a pilot. And also, it's a very male-dominated field where there's less than 1% of Black women that are pilots in aviation. It wasn't until I had the privilege of meeting a Black woman pilot that I was encouraged to do training and pursue my career of becoming a pilot.
Because you were a flight attendant before. You were a flight attendant before.
I was a flight attendant before.
Okay.
Was always interested in becoming a pilot, but didn't think that was something that I could do. I flew with a Black woman pilot, and she was the one who encouraged me to go after my dream.
Mm-hmm.
When I started training, I was the only Black person and the only woman in my class. And I suffered a lot from imposter syndrome and just feeling lonely and not being able to relate to anyone. And so my question for you, Misty, is how did you power through feeling lonely, not really having anyone to relate to, and just the pressure of feeling that you needed to, do something great and finish and power through?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think at the kind of heart of all of that was my real passion for it that really kept me going. But I mean, that's not going to get you through on, every day in those tough days. And again, it was having the support that I've had in my life. And for me, it wasn't just about looking for Black ballet dancers, but just Black women in general who could connect with me in the same way you feel a connection to me. Even though we're not in the same field, but understand what it is to be the only and understand what it is to be the first, and to be able to have those people to come to and have, whether I'm just saying all the things I felt in a day and they don't say anything back, but they're just an ear to listen, was so extremely helpful. That kept me going on this path and knowing that I do have support. I do have people that believe in me.
Thank you.
Is that helpful?
That's very helpful. I have an organization, Sisters of the Skies, that, we can go to and ask certain questions to,
Mm-hmm.
but just on your day-to-day, there's really no one around in your circle that,
Right.
kind of you can call on sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be hard at times when you're going through this.
Well, may I just say to you, Kiera, as Misty knows, when you are the trailblazer, there isn't, because you are the one that's blazing the trail.
Mm-hmm.
So I think changing the perception of who you are and why you're there makes a world of difference. And listen, I've been in so many rooms where I was the only woman, I was the only Black person. I mean, I remember being in some town and I was like, there's not a brown person within 500-mile radius of here. And it has never bothered me or concerned me, because there is a poem that Maya Angelou did called To Our Grandmothers. I think it's called Our Grandmothers. And there's a line in that poem that has lived with me and abided with me, and I share it with you. She says, "I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. Mm. And so for every meeting I've ever gone into, every boardroom I've ever gone into where I knew I was the only woman, I was the only person of color, I was the only thing, I always just suit up, literally, emotionally, spiritually suit up. I have sometimes gone into a closet and called on that 10,000, because you have been prayed up. Maya used to say this to me, and this is true for you, especially your generation. You've already been paid for. You've already been paid for. So all you need to do is put your crown on and wear it. So you got to know when you walk in the space, you are the one who's blazing the trail. And the reason you are there blazing the trail is because so many people prayed you up to be there, sacrificed for you to be there, and now you've been paid for. You've been paid for. And you are never, may I tell you, you are never walking into the room alone. You are walking into the room as a symbol and as a representative of everybody who came before you who didn't get the chance that you have. That's how you're walking into the room.
Thank you.
Okay.
Beautifully said.
Thank you, Kiara. So you had to fight to even wear the proper shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and
the proper shade of makeup.
Yeah. As you're saying, there are so many that came before me that fought for this and that paved the way. And now I'm being given a platform to have a voice and to speak on it. That's how I feel about my journey and my path. And with having to pancake my shoes, as we say, I'm in an art form that is European art form.
I didn't know until I heard that, read that, saw that. Oh, that the pink shoes are supposed to be matching the skin.
Yes.
So all these years, that's what the pink skin was for. And then this went viral with millions of people watching.
Since I started ballet, I've been pancaking my point shoes, my skin color. Everyone has a different method. It's European pink is the color of the point shoes. It's the color of the tights we wear. And if that doesn't exclude so many, then I don't know what does, And that's the first thing you get when you enter into this space. You get your tights and you get your ballet slippers. And for all those little black and brown boys and girls, that are receiving that message, it's saying you don't belong. Arthur Mitchell started it with the Dance Theatre of Harlem in the 70s. He was dyeing their tights and dyeing their point shoes so that it was a representation of their skin. And I feel that it's something that we need to acknowledge. We need to go back and give credit where it's due and say that this is how you make it inclusive. This is how you represent all bodies.
So are they now doing tan slippers?
It does exist. This happened during the pandemic post George Floyd. Where a couple of the bigger brands.
Misty, you could have had your own brand of shoes.
Yes, we're working on it. It's not too late.
Okay.
But that they have caught on and feel that it's something that they have to do because there are more black and brown dancers that want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. In Letters to Misty, you talk about, which was shocking to me, not hitting puberty until the age of 19. Mm-hmm. First of all, why? What was going on in your body?
I think it happens with a lot of really active young girls, whether it's gymnasts or ballet dancers, when you're so extremely active. And it's something that I think is genetic in my family. Most of the women in my family didn't start until later. And I think I actually would have started later than that had my doctor not put me on birth control to speed up the process.
So you didn't get your first period until you were performing.
I was performing professionally. It was actually in one of my first Swan Lakes when I was in the Corps de Ballet that I got my period on stage in a white tutu.
Oh, my goodness.
Pretty traumatizing.
Oh, my goodness. We've all had our own bad stories, right? I can't imagine. What do you want to say about your relationship to your body now and how that relationship has changed?
Yeah, it's had so many growths and evolutions, and I have to embrace and accept my body for what it is in that moment.
Yeah.
I think even when I, went through puberty at 19, I gained 10 pounds within a couple of months, and I had a completely different body. But I had to keep telling myself, I will never be that 16-year-old girl again. What do I have to do to be my healthiest self in this body? And I think that's how I've been on this journey, even after having my son. Mm-hmm. This is not the same body that I entered American Ballet Theatre having. And I have to have a different grace and approach to the things that I'm doing and respect for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? I have such respect for the way you have managed all of this because we know having a big life can become really unmanageable to a lot of people, and particularly when you've grown up and you didn't have anything to model that, It was late.
Yeah.
Your ideas about yourself had already been formed by the time you moved in with Cindy and her family. Mm-hmm. And I heard that you and your siblings, despite your role models growing up, despite growing up in an environment where often you didn't feel safe. And as you say, there was abuse. All 6 of you have long-term partners, no divorces. How is it that all of your siblings have long-term relationships when you all came from such craziness?
I think we're all very similar in a lot of ways in that we didn't want to repeat this cycle. There's this
nobody
real
wants
fear,
to repeat it, but they do.
Real true fear of it. We're also all very close with one another, and I don't know. It's pretty wild.
It is.
Yeah, it's really incredible.
Hundreds, thousands of interviews, and usually people repeat the thing
right,
that they
see and don't want to do.
And don't want, because that thing is familiar. So you draw to
right,
yourself
right.
exactly the opposite of what you think you want. Yes.
It's pretty incredible.
That's pretty. Y'all should be studied. I think it's a case study. I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah.
I've never heard of such a thing. It's always somebody
I know,
or one or
I
two or
know.
3, and that not only that, they repeat the same pattern that your mother repeated.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one person and another person, another partner. It's highly, highly, highly unusual, I can tell you.
Yeah, it is.
Tell us about your husband.
It's
Olin.
pretty incredible. He's an amazing man that, I think I was drawn to him because I felt such safety and stability and partnership. I think that, I was maybe not skeptical about marriage, but not something I felt that I needed to jump into.
Well,
I think
not
my
if you've
mom.
seen your mom do it multiple times.
Exactly.
Yes. And it not work out.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the role model you had.
Right.
Yeah.
My husband and I were together for like 15 years, I think, something like that, close to, before we were married. And, I think what makes him so special and so different and perfect for me is that, again, it's never been about us as individuals, but what are we doing to support one another? He waited to propose to me until I was promoted to principal dancer because he didn't want to distract in any way. He didn't want me to have my mind on anything else. So the day after I was promoted, he proposed to me, and I was just like, what is happening? What is my life right now? But he's an incredible, incredible man.
And that day of making principal dancer, was that everything you had imagined it to be? I know you had wanted it for a long time. Did it fulfill the expectation?
Not that day, I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that by the time I got to that place of being promoted, I had already done so much and kind of processed what it would be if I weren't promoted. And I was getting to perform principal roles, and I was so satisfied with that, that it no longer felt that it was about the title. And so by the time I was promoted to principal dancer, I was kind of like, oh, okay. But I understand the importance of the title. There needs to be that change and that that evolution of what it looks like to be a ballerina, who can be a ballerina. And so, of course, the title is necessary. But in that moment, it was like, okay, I can kind of relax now, but now the real work begins. Now that I've actually received the
Because
title.
what quality do you think, besides obviously talent and technique, do you think is the most important quality to have in being a principal dancer? What is the stuff?
I think it's leadership.
It's leadership, yeah.
That's not something I ever thought about as a young dancer, that was a quality that I needed to have. But I remember getting to a place where I was starting to get those roles, and Kevin McKenzie, who was the artistic director of American Ballet Theatre, when he started to see those leadership skills developing in me, was when he started to give those roles to me, and he was like, "It's a real responsibility to go on stage and to lead an entire company, and that it's not just about you out there.
That's right.
You're a supporting character in this storytelling." And I feel like that's how I think
And
of
isn't
myself.
it also about attitude?
Yes, it is. Attitude.
Attitude.
Not just the position attitude, but
Yes.
it is. It's the attitude you have and how you carry yourself and how you step onto a stage and motivate and kind of cultivate that energy amongst the entire company.
And the respect and responsibility that your fellow dancers feel towards you.
Yes.
So
one of the first things that I remember doing as a principal dancer, I remember being in the corps de ballet, and when those ballerinas would take so long during their bows, and you've already been standing on the side for long periods of time on one leg, and you can only switch legs once that ballerina leaves the stage. And I remember all of us just moaning, going, please leave the stage. The first thing I did, I remember doing my first Swan Lake. I took my bow, fully and respectfully, and I got my butt off that stage because I was like, those girls are in pain.
waiting to come on. Wow. Thinking of others. I want to say I am just so honored to be one of the co-chairs along with Caroline Kennedy for your gala. And as I was saying to you before we started, I'm not on people's boards. I don't do this thing of lending my name for the honorary chair and this and that and that. But I did that in order to meet you because I just thought that this final dance is going to be such a seminal moment for you, the country, the culture. I know it's going to be an event like no other, and we're just all so excited to celebrate with you. And when you wake up the next morning and your eyes open and 25 years have come and gone, what do you think, not just the next chapter, but that feeling will be of?
I already feel so fulfilled, and I think I will feel fulfilled and grateful. I think I will really feel immense gratitude for, I never imagined that ballet would take me here and that I would become the person that I am. And to me, that is what's been most incredible, to see from the outside, to experience as myself as from the girl that I was at 13 years old, to see that growth is even more impressive than any accolades, any performances I've had. And that's why I think arts education is so incredibly vital and important.
Well, I thank you. I thank you for being the woman that you are, a phenomenal woman.
Thank you.
And when you see her walking, it ought to make you proud. That's a line from Maya's poem. I thank you for that, being a phenomenal woman. I thank you for the gift of your artistry. I thank you for handling it the way that you have with such grace, for leaning into it. And I thank you for your courage and for paving the way for so many countless others.
Thank you so much.
You really make me proud to spell my name, Woman. You do.
Oh,
You
that
really
means
do.
so much.
Yes.
That means so much coming from you. Thank you.
I also want to thank our guests, John Meehan, Kiera, Jen, and Savannah. Thank you for your questions, and thank you, listeners, for joining us in celebrating Misty Copeland's extraordinary legacy. A very special thanks to our friends at Walmart for supporting this episode. And the book is called Letters to Misty and Bunheads Act 2. So I think if you have young daughters especially, or young adults in your life who are trying to figure it out for themselves, this is a great gift. Great gift.
Thank you.
Until next week, go well, everyone. You can subscribe to the Oprah Podcast on YouTube and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. I'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.